I'm Robert Estrin. You're watching livingpianos.com, your online piano resource today with the huge benefits of understanding diatonic chords. Now, that sounds like something complicated, but when I show it to you, it's really unbelievably simple. And it can make learning your music seamless experience and help you to improvise as well. So what is this all about? Diatonic chords. It sounds complicated. So let me show you what it really is. First of all, it presupposes an understanding of major scales. You know, everything in music theory builds on everything else. And if you have a solid foundation with one thing, the next thing is easy and the next thing is easy, just like mathematics. Imagine trying to do algebra if you still didn't know your multiplication tables. You'd be lost, wouldn't you? Well, with music, understanding major scales and key signatures is like understanding your tables in mathematics. So the first step is to have a command of major scales and key signatures. If you don't have that, I have other videos for you. But if you already have a good handle on that, then diatonic chords are everywhere in music. And I'm going to show you how you can break things down and understand the music so you can read more fluently and learn more easily. And I have a couple of good examples, but before we get into that, let me show you what diatonic chords really are. Well, I'm going to start with something really simple so you get the sense of it. I'm going to start with C major. Of course, the C major scale. So if you were to play a 1 chord, that's a chord built on the first scale degree. It would be simply this, a C major triad. And you go up and a 2 chord, and etc. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1. That's, in a nutshell, diatonic chords. You could also have diatonic 7th chords, the same idea, 1, 7, 2, 7, 3, 7, on up. Back to 1, 7. Now, where it gets a little bit more complicated, if you know your key signature is not so tough, but if you go in a different key, it's exactly the same idea. So in D major, you have your D major scale, and your 1 chord, 2 chord, etc. Or 7th chords. And they could also be inverted. Let's go back to C major and do a C major 6-3 or a C major in the first inversion. Or for those of you who like lead sheets, C over E, which is, of course, instead of the root position, you go to the first inversion, put the C on top. And this could be transposed to other keys. Well, I missed one there, but you get the idea. And you can do any key this way, and you're going to find that your music is chock full of diatonic chords. So let's go through here. I'm going to give you some examples, starting with, you know, the Moonlight Sonata. In the third movement, there's a section that sounds like this. Okay, so what is going on there? It's just diatonic chords in an inversion. Let me show you how this works. So the very first chord, it's an F sharp minor chord. So you have 4 sharps, or in this case, C sharp minor. It's a natural minor in this case, so it just has all the notes of an E major scale or a C sharp natural minor scale. So you take the top line, and then the middle line, and the bottom line. So it's just the chords going through the scale degrees. Each note in this chord is going up to the next note in the scale. And it's going down. That is diatonic chords. So instead of just looking at a whole bunch of random notes or trying to figure out the harmonic underpinnings, all you have to do is play the notes of the scale. Each one of those three notes just goes up or down through the notes of the scale. Doesn't that make it easier to learn and to read? This is why having a really solid foundation with your scales and your key signatures makes everything else seamless. Let me give you another example. This is Kabalevsky Fairy Tale, and there's a section that at first you might not realize these are just broken diatonic chords. So, in the left hand, if you were to play half measures as chords, the first four notes is just an E flat major chord in the second inversion, the E flat 6/4. Now we're just going down through the scale. This is the second half of the measure. All the notes are just going down through the E flat major scale. And now it starts here in an A flat 6/4, the E flat on the bottom, and once again, all the notes of the chord are just going down by step. Doesn't that make it easier to comprehend, to learn, to read? So once again, get comfortable with your key signatures, and then you can actually just play diatonic chords like I showed earlier. And what a great way to improvise also. You know, you can play, for example, in C major, it's easier, just a 1/7 to a 2/7, or you can even go further, a 3/7. The beauty of this is that you can do this in any key. So now if you go to D major, you could play a 1/7 to a 2/7, let's say. There's your 1/7, the first, third, fifth, and seventh notes of a D major scale. Then the second, fourth, sixth, and first note of the, and right hand, just make sure you play two sharps. E flat major. So you can see that by having a solid foundation of key signatures, it makes improvisation a seamless experience. It makes learning your music, reading your music, it helps everything. Because diatonic chords are just every other note of a scale. Once you grasp that, suddenly your music makes sense. And you're not just trying to read a bunch of notes. They relate to one another within the scale. That's the key to understanding your music, making it easier to read and learn and improvise. I hope this is interesting for you. If you like these kind of insights, check out in the description to take your playing to the next level with the Living Piano Mastermind Club. Once again, I'm Robert Estrin. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.